Okay, here we go. Today's date is June 16th, 2026. Present with us is the treasurer's office, Terry Coates. And first of all, we have some minutes for the treasurer of May 19th, 2026. I would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Craig's not here. I'd second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, turning to you,
Did
Terry,
I read those?
for your update.
Right.
Next one with the book.
Okay, I have a couple things I want to chat with about. So I will tell you that currently at the very present moment, we are out of balance, but I'm going to give you kind of where we're at this particular moment. Oh, did I give the original to you, Ginger? I'm going to keep the original if you don't mind. No, maybe I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's right in front of me. Sorry. It's been a long week. Taxes balance, motor vehicle balance, everything balances, but cash is out. So we got a late start on balancing anyway, but I spent yesterday trying to figure out what the hell we're out of cash again. So this is going to sound weird and I don't know how to explain it in a quick manner, but I found 10 tax IDs that were paid by credit card that double posted, so they created their own lines. Okay, so like if you owed $1,000 and you went online and you paid with your credit card $1,000, then it paid it again and created its own line of $1,000. So now you've paid $3,000 worth of taxes when you only owe $2,000. So Black Mountain is diving deep into it, and so some of these numbers are shifting. Right now, Paulette said to me on the way there, she goes, well, the tax numbers are shifting. So I'll get updated reports as soon as Black Mountain figures out what's going on. And they did a new cash credit card web pay update. They did that mid-May, which I would never wish to do anything in tax month. But anyway, and I watched it and everything was fine until I finished balancing on Friday, and I go, why am I out? And then we started digging deeper. So I don't know what the result of this. Last month's outage, we got it all figured out. It was the HSA deal, which is resolved, where Ginger's group sent out some HSAs and those rejected, and that created some, and the bank put the money in the wrong account. And anyway, so that last month's stuff is all fixed, so this month should have been cleaned. So, but what I am giving you is the cash balances, and then everything transfers. And if you look at our reconciliation report out of Black Mountain, everything balances to Quicken, which we use to offset that stuff. Of course, you have a cash report, and the bottom is the treasurer's checks that were issued. So I don't think we have any issue there. The bad part about this is that so in June, because I'm sure you don't know this, Dan, and maybe Ginger and Carrie don't remember it, but in June, we have to resend our tax money from June 1st to the 15th to the state of Montana, because they want to have as much money as they can at the fiscal year end. So usually I roll taxes on June 15th, and then I send them money for the first 2 weeks of the month. I can't do that right now either, because I might be sending them too much money. So I'm kind of, so I have an email to the state saying, we're not gonna make this year. It's just the way it is. I mean, I could overpay them and it would resolve itself before the end of the month, but I'd rather have a clean report. So I may change my mind about that, but right now that's how I feel.
It's your conscience.
I just want it to be right.
No, I understand. That's why.
So anyway, so that's where we're at with that. So everything looks like it balances to me. We have these HSA issues that are all cleared now. I wrote those on the front here. Because we had one left over, 15209, which is actually fine because that HSA was paid again just in the this last month. But the bank had given us back the money into the non-cash account, the ACH account. So it's over there instead of where it needs to be. So I'm moving that back to our money, and that'll offset the entries that payroll needed to do to adjust that. So that's the only big thing. Okay. So let's talk marijuana. Let's talk cannabis. Because we got a payment here.
Okay.
$7,770.83. The problem is the last time we got this payment, we didn't do it right. I'm not gonna worry about the last payment. But I need to remind that we have a resolution that says, based on MCA, we keep 50%. 5% goes back to the state for their admin, and 45% is supposed to be split between the populations of the cities and the towns inside the county. So the last one was 3,000 some odd dollars, and I don't know, maybe we should fix it, but I just don't want to worry about that right now. I want to worry about this one.
I thought they had to pass a resolution, like we passed a resolution before they would get their money.
They don't. They do if we didn't do it. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yeah, that makes sense.
They did if the city would have had to, and I'm gonna check on that. I do have a call into cannabis to make sure,
Okay,
but that's the way I understood it. My way I understood it is the city would have to create a resolution if we chose not to for their own. But if we did it, it gives it to everything.
okay.
And the resolution that we passed, and I don't remember what date this was a draft that I
Right.
kept. We did that election in 21, 24. 24. So it says, in accordance with Montana law, the revenue of the local option tax may be used for any activity, blah, blah, blah. But then it talks about 45% of the resulting revenue must be apportioned to municipalities on the basis of the ratio of the population of the city or the town. So I did this, and please, if anybody wants to check my math, that's great. I'm happy with that. So I did this on a spreadsheet, and I went out to I just Googled and that's what the population of Boulder and Whitehall is, and that's where these numbers come from. But the 2020 census figures are actually less than this. Boulder was 1,200, and actually I wrote it on the back of here. Oh no, I didn't write it on the back of there. Boulder is like 1,200 and Whitehall was 1,006. That's in 2020. So I could use the census figures, or I can use what just came up on Google. Google says this is what the population is now. So our total population in Jefferson County is 12,085, according to the census, because that's where that number comes from. And then you create a ratio of how much percentage of the population is. So if the population of Boulder is 1,300 and you divide it by the total population, that's what that ratio is, 0.10.
Okay.
So
10%.
so then you go to the 45% is the municipal money is supposed to be, and you take that number and times it by the ratio, and then Boulder would get $376, Whitehall would get $332 from this particular payment. And then what I don't know is that we only have 2 cities or towns in Jefferson. The rest of us are out there in rural America, right? And that number is 9,600 people. What I'm trying to figure out is whether or not the state wants me to take this 45% and divide it between these 2 cities, or can I give this all else money back to the county, $7,600? Because there's more people living outside the cities than there are inside. So I was trying to, so this is just my first draft at this. We do have the money in the bank. It came today.
How many
And-
more payments have we got? Have we got several of those payments
No, we only have the one for 3,000 something.
from
That was the
last year?
quarter. Yeah.
Okay.
Quarterly comes quarterly.
It comes whenever they get round to it.
Hmm.
So it's supposed to be quarterly, yes, but I've only seen it twice. So this one's February, March, and April, which is weird because that's not, to me, a quarter is January through March. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
simple-minded.
Right.
You're right.
I like this,
Hmm.
but this is what, so when the next time we get this, it's probably gonna be from May, June, and July, I assume, or maybe it's just May and June. I don't know. It's supposed to be quarterly according to state law, but that last one we got was November, December, and January. So
And the department isn't splitting it out like this, huh? They send you everything and you're supposed to split it out?
we're supposed to split it out.
Okay.
So. Is the 3496, that'd be 45% of the total that
Yes.
came in.
Right.
So is that just supposed to be split between Boulder and Whitehall?
That's where the fine line gets weird, right? Because it says the ratio of populations, right? So if I take this, I have this on a Excel spreadsheet, so it doesn't look like that here, but if I take that number and times it by that, I actually get $376. If you use the ratio of the population.
So I'm curious if it's just supposed to be the ratio of like what percent of Boulder and Whitehall combined is Boulder? And what percent of Whitehall is the combination of Boulder and Whitehall? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm wondering too. And the reason why that's a very good question, Ginger. And I say that because I went out and looked at park counties, but they have two big cities inside of park. There's not a whole lot of rural. I mean, they're either in the city or they're not. I mean, the farms and ranches are in the city, even though they're not in the city.
Right.
Does that make sense? That sounds weird,
So,
but that would be a different point, right? You take the 12,000.
yeah, so these two, the total of those two would be 14 or 2450.
Yeah,
And so then the 45% would be split based on their proportion of 2450.
that's what I was wondering if that's what it should be. But I hadn't played with this a lot, but when I saw this morning, I had that.
53% to Boulder. And I don't think whether you use the Google or the census, it's going to make a difference on the ratio because whatever Google says, I'm sure they both increase unless there was.
Well,
Big
yeah, because the
influx in
difference on the Whitehall was 1,006, so we got 100 more people living in Whitehall in 25 than you did in 2020.
So if you do it that way, then Boulder gets 53% of the 45%, and Whitehall gets 47%
Yeah,
of the 45%. I think that's pretty,
I think that's probably
that
clearer.
makes sense.
That makes more sense.
So then Boulder would get,
And I'll go back and do it.
These accounts, right?
Well,
Following this, Dan?
I needed help, right,
Trying
this,
to.
I needed help with this because I was like, how, okay, that doesn't work, because it's supposed to be 45% to the municipality, so that makes sense what Ginger just said. So. But I do have a call into cannabis to ask them about,
How to calculate
do the
that.
cities have to have their own resolution as well?
Ah,
But when I drafted this resolution, I thought I remember being told, if we don't do it, they have to do it. But if they don't do it, we do it, then they get it.
So if I'm,
And that adds up math wise.
that's my guess.
I'm understanding this, and if you got Boulder and then you got Whitehall, that money goes to each of those entities
Cities,
or
yeah.
cities. The county doesn't get anything in that sense of
They
that?
get 50%.
We get
You're still
50%.
doing that, okay, okay,
So county gets 3,500 and then Boulder and Whitehall have to split 3,500.
okay,
Minus 5%.
Minus
state.
5%.
okay, gotcha. So there is,
And then you guys can use this money to whatever you prefer. Like Park County splits the money, half of that 3,500, let's say that was the number. Half that money goes to general fund, half money goes to the sheriff department. That's Park County.
Mhm.
That's not across the board. One county's doing it, half to general fund, half to road fund. Some counties are just putting it all in their general fund and doing whatever.
Hmm.
So I think that depends on what your budget. I mean, so far we've got $10,000, of which we're only supposed to have half,
Mhm.
that you can use whatever you'd like to do. But when Maggie brought this in today, she goes, remember you were asking that question, and here it is. And I thought, we gotta do some numbers here, because the last time we didn't do that. And we do have a resolution. This is not the
The original
official
policies.
copy of all, this is my one there, so. Anyway, if you think that, I think that makes more sense to me.
I'd check with them. You're gonna check with them.
I
about that.
have a call into them anyway, so I'm gonna double check that because I was kind of hoping we could have that additional money, but I know that doesn't make sense based on the law in my back of my mind, so. So sorry to have to take away some of that cannabis money from, it, but,
But Boulder's population is really bigger than Whitehall.
oh yeah, it always has been, so.
Huh.
I think Whitehall's population is mostly outside of Whitehall. isn't it?
Rural,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, cause you don't live in town, right? You live outside the township. Yeah, so there's
If
only
you-
that
If you
type.
look at the voting districts, it probably looks different, huh?
Exactly, yeah, that's why I was just thinking,
Hmm.
Whitehall's precinct 2, but it has the town and some rural, because it's our biggest precinct, but it has rural and.
So when I went and looked at the 2020 census, the Whitehall was like 1,006 and Boulder was not much bigger than that. It was 1,200, I think. So I mean, Boulder was a little bigger even with the census. That was 2020, because we obviously don't have a current one. But then Google gave me these numbers and I thought, well, Google's probably more accurate because it knows what's moving in and moving out, I'm assuming. Of course, it could be whatever.
I mean,
So-
when it's that much, I mean, what's the difference there? $200. So.
Yeah.
The ratio's not gonna.
And I can tell you that I know Boulder has talked about it. I was at a meeting there. And they talked about doing the resolution and then they were waiting on us. That's been 2 years. I'm not sure Whitehall even has a knows.
Probably not.
I'm sure you're absolutely right about that.
I mean, I don't think they even know. I mean, when we send them a check, I put this in their funds. To send them a check, I might have to call and have a conversation with Jessica to just maybe,
She's now deputy
of what?
of deputy clerk.
Oh, good for her. Congratulations.
No, no, she stepped down. One clerk. She's not clerk.
Oh, she stepped down. I was thinking
She doesn't like the leadership aspect of it. But so if that's the case, then and you're good with the state, then are you gonna go ahead and act on that then?
Well, I have money in the bank. It's
I
gotta be
mean, for that,
dispersed.
where it's gonna go.
Yeah. I mean, unless you guys want to object, but the law does say that we're supposed to give them their share. That's what the MCA says.
Look,
Okay.
sure they don't have to do the resolution first, because that was my.
I want to make sure of that, because if it doesn't, then it's all ours as far as I'm concerned. And I know Boulder hasn't done one, so I don't know about Whitehall.
Not that they're missing out on a whole
I'm
bunch of
betting
money.
not.
Okay, so the other thing is we're gonna be sending out pending tax lien letters. They're already in my creation folder, just haven't finished them. Because the laws added a few things to the letter. So I need to make sure those are covered, so we'll be mailing those out next week. And what that is, Dan, for your sake, is it's to tell people you didn't pay your taxes. Now you have 30 days before we file a tax lien. And that tax lien will be filed on August 3rd, which is a Monday. Be filed on August 3rd, and then those will be available for assignment 2 weeks after that. To folks that want to participate.
Now, is it true you have to be delinquent 3 years?
It's actually, the whole process can take almost 4 years. So it's 3.5 to 4 years before you actually lose something. So I always try to reassure those that are struggling that
Right, that's different.
There's time.
there's time. It
Yeah.
costs you more money, but there's time. So I don't want people to panic when they get those letters.
Right,
Tunnels right now, every time they get a letter on a piece that's around theirs, they pay it immediately. So he's trying to be, not lose it, but the law really says, that, it could take 3.5 years. So it does take some time.
So
And it's, go ahead.
I'm sorry. If you're not balanced yet, then it's okay if I post commissary and border prisoners for May.
Sure, as long as you can, hopefully before Black Mountain's done, but yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
I was like, I'll just do it in June.
We're not gonna
because-
close anything and I'll tell you,
Okay.
I'll tell you when we're ready to close, just in case you haven't done it.
Okay.
It's just that I can't, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with software. I've never seen that happen before.
No, that's odd.
If you go out to WebPay and you see you have 3 payments and you made an extra $1,100, you're probably gonna be go check your credit card,
yeah.
because you're gonna wanna know. And that's what I told Dave Devaney, the software person this morning. I said, so if somebody goes out to the credit card statement, are they getting hit a second time? He said, I don't think so. I said, well, you better check.
Posting
My
charge.
credit card reports do not show a second payment. So there's that.
Right.
But what if there's, I don't know. I,
That's all I,
you know, I've been married to a software engineer for a long time, and he goes, I don't think that ever has happened. And I go, well, something happened. So. I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at, and I'll let you know what the answer to this is. And that's it, I think.
what's the deadline for me to get some kind of resolution for that TV resolution
Hmm.
that they don't wanna overcharge the
I'd
multiple?
kind of like to see it in my possession by mid-August, late August at the latest.
on
The
that?
same with those RMDs that are sitting out there that we haven't seen yet. Kind of need to,
I think I'm just gonna do a separate, like maybe a resolution, update resolution or something for the, TV
TV.
board. Just to rewrite it and put all the specifics, cause there is really no resolution that shows that we even charge them $10 or $30 or whatever.
Yeah. So I know the resolution needs to say something, and maybe it was. I was just concerned about those folks that are getting charged multiples like that. I mean, thousands of dollars in TV fees.
Yeah.
And that's why I made that suggestion about adding that to the resolution. I think a one-liner that just says, and we cap it at this number, and that's what, Lewis and Clark did with the fire district. They
Okay.
capped it. But it's not quite the same thing, but otherwise.
Yeah,
So speaking of that, Clancy, he wants to do a 3-tiered
fee system,
fee system.
okay,
There's only one county doing that right now, and that's Lewis and Clark for the Tri-Lakes
okay.
Fire Department. What happens when that, it screws up your valuations from the Department of Revenue. So Department of Revenue says that whole area is worth this amount of money, right? And when it gets down to the tax side, she has to recertify each level of values internally at the county level.
Hmm.
I don't have a problem with that, but if I'm going to move on in the next couple of years, I'm a little bit worried about what happens next. And I did talk to Mr. Marks and a couple of the trustees over there, and they really are not supportive of that because they're worried it's gonna be too complicated for them to track as
Right.
well. I'm not worried about me, and I'm not worried about Ginger. I'm not worried about the current. But I just don't know if people understand how to recertify values enough. I don't know, maybe it's just another ringer, maybe I'm worried about something I don't need to worry about, when she told me that they have to take that value and then they have to say, okay, everything worth $1 million up has to be certified at this value, and then everything from this amount to this amount is valued, and then this amount is valued. That's a lot of recertifications, then has to come over, that she's gonna have to redo that, or her team. So I'm just trying to figure out what those aspects look like.
Did they throw out the door of just forming a district that follows the levy system that we use?
Well, Gary still would like to do that. He still would like to see that, but the money isn't much different. Right now, the money's not much different.
It wouldn't be different?
It's not,
Really?
it's different, but it's not much different.
Really? Oh, that's amazing.
I mean, they wanna build a fancy fire hall, and I don't know if you were at Clancy Days, they got a picture of this fancy fire hall. That's probably gonna be several $1 million. They're not gonna get that from that, unless they wait like 10 years. Lots of fundraisers.
Well, they're a district, they just don't have the fee structure like.
They don't
a
have a
levy.
fee structure.
But they're a district, right? Cause could they run a levy to pay for their?
Well, they
fire?
have to change their formation of government, don't they?
I would assume they could run, well, no. They have to form a district.
They do,
Yeah, they have
Aren't
to.
they a district now, or?
No, there's,
They just-
they're a
Fire
fire
service
service area
area.
and it's based on
Okay.
fees. That's the difference, and yeah, I feel like, and I looked at it a few months ago, but I feel like they need to survey the population and figure out what kind of appetite there is, but it's also just not a good time for that because the legislature is hitting fire districts and special districts really hard, especially when, was it Big Sky over milled a lot?
Oh, yeah, they overmilled.
not just Big Sky, I heard there was a handful of them, but, yeah, they're just not a popular thing right now, so they're
And-
kind of getting beat up.
I do get what they're saying about, they don't want the guy with the smaller home, the smaller family to be hit with a huge impact increase in fees. I understand that. But, and they want those higher end folks to pay more. And I think the trustees that I've talked over there, they understand that too. I think they do. But I think that at some point you're gonna have to find something in the middle.
That's why the levy system works so good. It's based off the value of your house. You pay less if you have a smaller house and you
Right.
pay more. if you
So
have a
I
bigger
think I
house.
need to do the math again, maybe on the 145, which is the fee, compared to what a levy,
What a
maybe
levy
a
would be.
0.30.
Yeah, that really surprises me.
At least this was a couple years ago when I don't know.
I-
understand it
I haven't run the numbers, but I would imagine the levy,
would bring more money in now, because their values are more.
Right.
They've got some higher end homes now up there in the top,
Believe
um,
the lower end values. are
and what
higher.
is the fee right now? Like,
145 per house.
well, I don't know. I mean, if they did a voted no, then they would get more.
I think they would too. It would come up more. Especially for those people way at the top of that Clancy
Gonna
area.
have to
So-
start slinging a lot more pancakes.
That's right.
A question what Corey was talking about in terms of television. Did somebody from Whitehall Television call you, Sally? After 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's-
They want to go up to $30 on the rate.
that's because Boulders started a thing,
I don't.
because I think Basin
I
has to do the
understand.
same thing.
And she acted like she didn't know, and she said, well, what can we do? I said, I suggest you know, the
Gotta
availability,
create,
he needs to talk to
she's
you.
gotta come to you guys and ask.
So maybe
just
they
like
decided.
Dick
not
did.
to.
Just like Boulder did.
Because I was gonna go to their meeting and they go, no, we don't need you. I'm like, okay.
But you have to remember, they're all in their 80s. They need to find some legal folks to start managing their bills.
No, okay.
Do they
Nobody
need
wants
the
to.
money?
They don't
got
need
a
the
bunch of-
money.
Because
They've
Doug
got a lot of
Salisbury
money.
kept coming in and saying, can you
Yeah.
lower it? Because
It's
we got
all
way
that
too much
equipment.
money.
Just
Yeah,
like
they're
what
gonna
asset
upgrade
was looking at.
But whenever you have to upgrade from over the air, with
Yeah.
what, or now you
Yeah.
have to be on the internet,
Yeah,
you have to
it's a
be,
big upgrade.
it's a huge,
Yeah.
it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that was.
Boulder just bought $30,000 worth of equipment and they didn't have the money. I mean, they had it, but
They
they
had to
won't
pick
have it
it
for
up.
the next one.
Saved up.
So
a lot of
it's,
money.
it's the way the TV signals work. I still say, to be honest with you though, I'd rather pay a TV fee of $30 a year than all these streaming things, but
Oh,
having
yeah.
said that, move on.
Meeting off with the chairman?
Yeah.